What's up guys, it's Roanoke Gaming here, and today we're going to be doing something a little different once more. I'm going to be going over the history and how the IMC from Titanfall gained a major foothold in the core systems, and why the militia is actively fighting against these invaders. So strap in, make friends with your giant robot AI, and prepare to drop into the fast-paced, wall-running world of Titanfall.
Warning, threat level is high. A pilot is attacking your target.
That's how it's done. You neutralize the enemy mark.
Pilot, your Titan will be ready in 2 minutes.
Prepare for new marks.
The Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation was created over 200 years ago by a man named Dr. Hammond. Depending on who is speaking, it is not 100% known if Dr. Hammond is actually still alive or not. When the company was first founded, much like any other company, it was small, but this particular company operated under the name of Hammond Engineering. Over the course of the next 15 years or so, demands for Titans began to grow exponentially, and so did the materials needed to build these Titans. At the time, Hammond Engineering had an exclusive use of the technology where they could survey entire planets and determine where important resources were actually located in the crust. This, coupled with mapping rights, led them to become a powerful contender in the market, which in turn led to their rapid growth and acquisition of power. Over the next 100 years or so, merging with many other companies, rebranding, and taking of some of these materials, led Hammond Engineering to become a massive multi-system conglomerate that is the IMC. Due to this expansion, the IMC would end up partaking in many conflicts in the core systems. Over time, however, the IMC would gain the ability to use the jump drive. This allowed them to leave the confines of the core systems and discover new planets and resources. As humans expanded outwards, they discovered more and more planets, and eventually this area of space became known as the Frontier. To lay claim to these planets, a bill was drafted called the IMC Servicemen's Readjustment Act. They would give former IMC servicemen land and money in the Frontier, allowing them to move and settle the Frontier. Eventually, however, interest in the Frontier came to a screeching halt as everyone began to lose interest, as the core system still had plenty of resources, so the Frontier wasn't necessary. This lack of interest left the servicemen and women of the Frontier to operate completely independent of Earth and the core system politics for quite a few decades. The troops that settled the Frontier would have their own knowledge of firearms and how to actually operate Titans as well. This previous military experience and lack of core system politics would fuel the independent spirit of the men and women that lived in the Frontier. With this, they would eventually become the militia. As time passed, however, interest began to rise once more in the core systems as they were needing more resources for more growth. Eventually, the IMC returned to the Frontier to find that the people there were doing quite well despite initial assessments. Which, I want to stop the lore here and point out that the IMC literally let these people go and really just thought they would kind of die, so thanks for the help, guys. Anyways, upon returning to the Frontier and seeing the success of the worlds that the colonists had cultivated, the IMC declared eminent domain and began taking resources and displacing colonists. As you might imagine, many colonists took great issue to this and saw this as unlawful, but the IMC stated that since they were the first ones to originally get the colonists there, that they had rights to these planets and their resources. IMC began setting up vast mining and manufacturing on the planets once held by the colonists, displacing more and more colonists. Over the decades of this happening, the frontiersmen became quite disgruntled. Over time, they eventually formed the militia to combat these intruders. The Frontier Militia actually began raiding and striking IMC garrisons, which kicked off the war between the Frontier and the core systems. But it's not really the core systems, it's just a corporation. It's easy to think, though, due to all this, that the IMC is actually operating outside of some government or is fascist. But the IMC is not even remotely fascist. In the core systems, they operate under the legality of the governments that run there and abide by those rules. In the Frontier, however, they own and operate the land, at least deemed by themselves and the core system governments, which has led to a feeling of abandonment by the people in the Frontier. While some soldiers such as Bliss, whose methods are dubious at best, tend to be seen as tyrannical, in theory they are operating inside of the law. Or maybe really their crimes just haven't been discovered yet. And if that's the case, then that would be a perfect tie-in for Titanfall 3, but due to the fact that EA has bought Respawn, I seriously doubt we're going to be getting that. Alright guys, so what did you think about the lore video that I just made about the beginning of the IMC? So let me know what you think in the comments, as well as make sure to like and subscribe, as part 2 will be dropping pretty shortly. I appreciate all the comments and subs I've been getting on these videos, and I recently learned that my computer can actually output 4K video, which is news to me. So the image quality should be getting a little better. So just overall, expect the videos to get better. Alright guys, take care.